Want to start this Bears mailbag with a question from Same Ol' Bears. Are you concerned about Caleb Williams' games on the road? Been getting a couple of DMs about this, including from Same Ol' Bears, so I do want to address this. The short answer is no, but let's go through some stats here. Home versus road, and I took the London game out of it. Technically, the Bears were the home team and had more fans, but you're still flying to Europe. To me, that's a neutral game. Certainly, he's been better at home overall in these games. A little more accurate. The Tennessee game, you take that one out. The other two home games has been pretty good. On the road, hasn't been quite as accurate. Higher volume, but obviously more turnovers. But no turnovers yesterday. I think that's something he gets credit for. Took care of the ball. The London game, which was arguably his best game, which home, road, I'll call it neutral, was really, really good in London. So that's a check mark for him. I can't say I'm worried. I would say I'm more just concerned about these slow starts in general, but especially on the road. Can they not handle these road environments? Are they not being coached well enough to understand what a NFL road environment is? I don't know. I think Caleb in these road games, Houston and Washington in particular, has felt a little more rattled, a little more sped up than he had in recent games. So maybe there's something to it, but the guy's played 3 true road games in his career. So I'm not going to use the word worry, but obviously you got to win on the road to be a good team in this league, and the Bears have not shown the ability to do that. We'll see if they can this week against Arizona. Any concerns with Caleb Williams from you guys? Type Y for yes, type in for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. Let us know. Y for yes, in for no. Lucas Prang, I'm not saying Flus is awful, but you're telling me that if Stefanski or Ben Johnson is available, you're not going to take him. It's a no-brainer. That's kind of my point. I saw a couple tweets today. Well, what if you can't get Ben Johnson? I'm scared to fire Flus in that scenario. Of course, when you change coaches, there is an unknown. Don't we kind of know a lot about Flus? What is the ceiling with him? A low-level playoff team? Because that's kind of how I feel it is. I'm not saying he can't make the playoffs. I can't close my eyes and ever envision a scenario where you're in an NFC championship game with Matt Eberflus as your head coach. Could you make the divisional round if you get the right wild card matchup? Yeah, I think that's on the table. But I don't see it going much further than that. And I'm kind of with you. I've seen Stefanski win a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns. I've seen Ben Johnson guide an awesome offense and help resurrect Jared Goff's career. Can he be a head coach? I guess there's some unknown there, but I would take my chances because his creativity with Caleb Williams' talent, pretty intriguing to me. Don T, it's about preparation. Bears have been outscored 29-10 in first quarter in the first 7 games. That's bad. Yesterday's game out of the bye, 7 first possessions, nothing. Yeah, they're just starting these games too slow. Is that on Waldron? Is that on Caleb? Is that on Eberflus? Is it a combination? It's probably a combination. But they've got to focus in these games earlier and get off to better starts. Cole Kmet said it yesterday. We got to start these games better. Well, go fucking do it then. Figure out what the problem is. Because I see a team coming out of the gates very slow, and the one out of the bye week is pretty alarming. Our next milestone here on Bears Now is 107,000 subscribers. This is the time for you guys to subscribe to Bears Now. Fighting, scratching, clawing every single week to see if this team can make a playoff push. Certainly a setback against Washington, but we're covering the latest Bears news, rumors. Got the trade deadline coming up. Any trade buzz, we'll hit that as well. Hit that sub button, turn on notifications. Sam Lecterra, blow it up and trade for Josh Dobbs and build around him. Sam, I'm really pissed we didn't talk about Dobbs when we linked up in Chicago. That's a shame. That's a shame. This is a bit from Sam Lecterra. Tyler, Bears better score 40-plus next game to ease the pain. How about they just put together a good, close to 60-minute game? I think it's a bit of a cliche where it's let's be awesome for 60 minutes. Very rarely does that happen. But can you show up before late third quarter? That would be nice. But, yeah, I don't want to put a number on things, but they need to come out ready to go, play a good football game. Lucas Prang, I always hate that he says it's about execution. Seems like he honestly believes they know they're right and the players are just not doing it. And look, I'm not even saying there's not truth to that and not a lot of truth to that. Like, a good amount of plays in the NFL, yeah, if they're perfectly executed, they'll work. But you have to call the right plays in the right spot. Like, sure, could the Kramer play have worked? Yes. If they got push up front and he got the ball cleanly, tucked it away, and plowed forward, it could have worked. But why would you put him in that situation? A player who's never carried the ball in the highest leverage spot of the entire season. That's insane. That is insane. So sure, you could point to execution mishaps on every play, I'm sure. And I'm sure these teams do when they go through film study. But that doesn't mean it was the right call. That doesn't mean there wasn't a coaching error in personnel decision and play call decision. Like, it's a collaborative effort. You want to point out where players mess up? Cool. I want you to call yourself out when you made a bad call. Like, I hope when Shane Waldron talks on Thursday, he goes up there and doesn't even get asked a question. Guys, we've been practicing that Doug Kramer play. We want to incorporate it into that package. That was not the time to do it. If he says that, I'm all good. Hey, you made a terrible mistake. Still be upset at the call, but that's ownership. Flus did not do that. He did not do that, which is frustrating. Appreciate Prize Picks. They are the opposite of frustrating. They're awesome. Daily fantasy sports app. That's fun. It's easy. Takes 90 seconds to sign up at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. The way it works is simple. You set daily lineups, 2 to 6 players, as long as it's 2 players on different teams. Doesn't matter the sport. You can cross over your sports with your picks. You can keep it within the same game as long as it's a player on each team. Pick 2 or more players. Choose more or less on their stat projections. And if you hit, you win money. For example, I've got this for next week. I'm going to take more on both quarterbacks' rushing yards. Caleb's been running around more recently, 23.5 rushing yards. I'll take the more. Same with Kyler Murray at 32.5. 5 to win 15 here. And the deal we got for you is if you use code CLNS for you first-time customers after you sign up, you're going to get a $50 bonus when you play for just $5. What an awesome deal. 50 extra bucks to play with. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS and get started right now. It's Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. Daily fantasy made easy. Link in the comments and in the description. DC Viper, is it too early or can we just admit our season is over? All our opponents won. Doesn't give me hope we can beat an average team. I'm not going to concede the season's over. You're 4-3. I get it's kind of an ugly 4-3 based on who you've beaten, but you're still 4-3. 6-3 is on the table if you put together 2 good games. Cardinals and Patriots. Arizona's playing better. It's on the road. It's not going to be easy, but you can find a way to win that game. Beat New England at home. Get to 6-3. Let the chips fall where they may. Final 8 weeks are going to be tough. We know that. You got to view this as a 2-game season right now. A 2-game season that you must win both. Got to win at Arizona. Got to beat New England at home. Let's revisit this talk after these 2 weeks. Don T, you win championships at the line of scrimmage. Do you really think this O-line is championship worthy? If not, why after the 3rd year isn't it? Well, a couple things. 1, I don't think it's championship worthy. 2, I don't think this year is championship or bust, but I do think it's playoffs or bust. And 3, the answer to that has a couple reasons. 1, some of the guys Poles has brought in haven't worked out. Nate Davis, flop of a signing. You win some, you lose some in free agency. He was a good player in Tennessee, has not been here for whatever reason. That was pay him $30 million. 2, Darnell Wright's been good, not great for a top 10 pick. I like him, but he hasn't been great. And 3, yeah, he probably hasn't invested enough up front. Coleman Shelton's played better recently, but they have not invested in center. I like Braxton Jones, but he is a 5th-round pick for a reason. He's got some limitations. I think Tevin's been a good player, not awesome. So it's kind of a combination. You need more investment, and the guys you invest in need to be better. Maybe Chris Morgan's not that good either, the offensive line coach. Who you got this week? Back against the wall, Bears, Cardinals, in Arizona. Who you rolling with? Let me know what you guys think. Sean, I know Ben Johnson is the obvious backup to Eberflus, but what if we took a chance on the Indiana head coach? That's too big of a leap for me. JMU to Indiana to the Bears in 2 years? I don't think so. Cignetti, he strikes me as a college coach anyway. I'm not going that route. I hear what you're saying, but I think that might be a little rich for him. Dylan Blasco, who's the interim head coach if Flus gets fired midseason? A, I don't think he will. And B, to be frank, I'm not sure you should fire him midseason. Last year I was advocating for it. And maybe I'll change my mind. If you lose to New England or something, maybe I'll say that. I just, one thing you know is that the defense is going to play well. And like I think the Jets are a good example, right? Like Saleh clearly wasn't a great head coach, but he had the defense ready every week. And now they've been a disaster. So I'm not sure you do a midseason firing because, A, I don't know who the interim is. I really don't like the idea of Waldron as an interim because then he's got to be the head coach and the play caller still, and making that big of a change on the fly, that's a lot. I mean, I guess Richard Hightower would be the answer, or John Hoke, but maybe Eric Washington, although you probably wouldn't want to do that because then he would have to take over the defensive play calling. So, yeah, as frustrated as I am with Flus, I don't know if a midseason firing even makes sense. Michael Ellis, what are some of the injuries on the O-line yesterday? Any updates? Braxton Jones, he's week to week with the knee injury. It's not considered serious, but he might miss a week or two. Haven't heard anything on the interior guys as of Monday, which is when we're filming this. So first injury report will come out Wednesday. Hopefully the interior guys are okay. Thank you guys so much for all of the questions. If we didn't get them answered, at HGramNFL on Twitter, at HGramNFL on Instagram. That is where you can hit me up on social media to talk some more Bears and NFL football. Appreciate the love and support.